Hello, grade 9s. Today is Tuesday, April the 7th, and we are continuing with lesson 3.4, graphing linear equations. Today, our equations will be presented in standard form, whereas yesterday we were graphing with our equations in slope y-intercept form. So what does standard form look like? Well, with standard form, here's an example. I have ax plus by plus c equals 0. I have my x, my y, and my constant all on the left-hand side of the equation and 0 on the right-hand side. Very slight variation would be to move the constant over to the right so that we had the x and the y both on the left, and again, just the constant on the right. So today we're going to be looking at equations presented in this format, and we are going to draw the lines on the Cartesian plane. So initially, our first example will be x plus y equals 6. Initially, I'm going to start with the table of values, just like we did yesterday. So I'm going to choose 4 points for x. I'm going to choose -1, -2, 2, and 4. And those are random points that I've selected. I'm going to sub in each one of these points one at a time into this equation, and for x, and I will solve for y. So for example, when x is -1, I have -1 plus y equals 6. Move the -1 over to the other side, y equals 6 plus 1, y equals 7. So I repeat this process for my 3 other points. So I'm left with the 4 ordered pairs -1, 7, -2, 8, 2, 4, and 4, 2. I go ahead and I plot my 4 blue points, there they are, and I connect them with the straight line. Now, more often than not, our equations in standard form have coefficients in front of x and y. Different than 1. Could be a 5, could be a -3, could be lots of different options there, which makes my table of values more difficult to create. So as an alternative to creating a table of values, which can be tedious, I can solve for 2 specific points. I can solve for my x and my y intercepts. Recall, the x-intercept is the point where we cross the x-axis. The y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. So how am I going to solve for these points? Well, it's quite easy, in fact. Recall, my y-intercept right here happens when x is 0, and my x-intercept here occurs when y is 0. So what I can do to solve for these points is to sub in 0 for x to find my y-intercept, and then sub in 0 for y to find my x-intercept. So let's go back and do that. To find my y-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for x in my equation. So I have 0 plus y equals 6, y equals 6. There it is right there. To find my x-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for y. There it is. 0 for y. So now I have x plus 0 equals 6, x equals 6. And I plot that point. And look at what happens. When I connect my 2 red points, it's the exact same line as when I connected my 4 blue points. Only it's a lot easier to solve for the intercepts than it is to create the full table of values. So that's what we're going to focus on today, graphing lines by solving for the x and y intercepts. Okay, so let's begin with example A. 4x plus 2y equals 8. I want to solve for the x-intercept. So I'm going to take 0 and I'm going to plug it into y right there. So I have 4x plus 2 times 0 equals 8. So this is eliminated. 2 times 0 is 0, which leaves me with 4x equals 8. Divide both sides by 4, x equals 2. So on my x-axis, there it is. I mark my x-intercept. Next, I solve for my y-intercept. So this time I'm going to substitute in 0 for x. So 4 times 0 plus 2y equals 8. This is 0. So 2y equals 8. Divide both sides by 2. Y equals 4. So on my y-axis, up to 4. There it is. I mark it, and I connect my 2 points. And there's my line. 4x plus 2y equals 8. Example B, 3x plus 4y equals -12. Okay, so I'm going to start by solving for my x-intercept, which means I'm going to plug in 0 for y. So 3x plus 0 equals -12. 3x equals negative 12. Divide both sides by 3. X equals negative 4. So on my x-axis, move to negative 4. That should actually be over there. There it is. Much better. Okay. For my y-intercept, now I'm subbing in 0 for x. 3 times 0 plus 4y equals negative 12. 4y equals negative 12. Divide both sides by 4. And we have y equals negative 3. That should be right there. And there's my line. See if I can connect these points a little bit nicer. There we go. So there we have the line 3x plus 4y equals negative 12. Okay, you get the point. This line doesn't want to cooperate today. Okay, let's move on to example C. 3x minus 2y equals 6. Okay, start by solving for the x-intercept. So, sub in 0 for y. 3x minus 2 times 0 equals 6. 3x equals 6. Divide both sides by 3. X equals 2. Here's my x-axis. 1, 2. There's my dot. Y-intercept. 3 times 0 minus 2y equals 6. Negative 2y equals 6. Divide both sides by negative 2. Y equals negative 3. There's my y-intercept. Take my ruler. Connect the 2 points. Example D. 7x plus 3y equals 21. Solving for my x-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for y. 7x plus 3 times 0 equals 21. This is eliminated. And I'm left with 7x equals 21. Divide both sides by 7. X equals 3. So on my x-axis, there I've marked 3. For my y-intercept, I'm plugging in 0 for x. So I end up with 3y equals 21. Divide both sides by 3. Y equals 7. So on my y-axis, move up to 7 and connect the 2 points. Label your work. And there's the line 7x plus 3y equals 21. Okay. Example E. 9x minus 18y equals negative 36. So for my x-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for y. There it is. So it's eliminated. And I'm left with 9x equals negative 36. Divide both sides by 9. X equals negative 4. So on my x-axis, move to negative 4 and mark it. For my y-intercept, 9 times 0 is 0. So I have negative 18y equals negative 36. Divide both sides by negative 18 and end up with y equals positive 2. So there I mark positive 2 on my y-axis, and then I connect my 2 points with a straight line. Example F. Negative 2x minus 4y equals 8. So again, to solve for the x-intercept, plugging in 0 for y, which means I'm left with negative 2x equals 8. Divide both sides by negative 2, x equals negative 4. Move this down a bit. On my x-axis, move back to negative 4, and there we have my x-intercept. For my y-intercept, plug in 0 for x, and I'm left with negative 4y equals 8. Divide both sides by negative 4, y equals negative 2. There it is. Connect my 2 points with a straight line, and I have the line negative 2x minus 4y equals 8. Okay. So that's how we graph using our x and y intercepts. For homework, I would like you to work on page 169, complete 1A, 4AB, 5, 6, and 7. If you have any questions, please email me and I will post solutions to your problems as soon as possible. Thank you very much.